A 39-year-old man with a heart condition, chronic insomnia, and a reliable reputation vanishes overnight after driving through one of Georgia's worst floods to attend a routine court hearing. Days later, his family finds all his belongings, his phone, clothes, and life-sustaining medication left behind. Weeks pass. His car surfaces 125 miles away, abandoned with the keys still in the ignition, and no trace of Brian. This is the mysterious and chilling disappearance of Brian Wehrle. It was the afternoon of Thursday, September 24, 2009, when Anita Gay received a call from a friend at the courthouse. Her brother Brian hadn't shown up for his probate court hearing that morning. There was no legal trouble. He was just supposed to drop off receipts and sign a document related to their mother's care. Their mother suffered from Alzheimer's and neurocognitive issues, and Brian, acting as her power of attorney, was managing a mountain of responsibilities on her behalf. Anita was instantly concerned. Brian wasn't someone who skipped out on responsibilities. He had even braved a 4-hour drive through catastrophic flooding from Atlanta to Carrollton just 2 days earlier to be there. That trip normally took just over an hour, but on September 22nd, downed trees, flooded roads, and traffic gridlock turned it into a nightmare. Still, Brian pushed through. He stayed at his parents' now empty home, doing yard work and catching up with family. He had dinner with Anita's family that Wednesday night, and afterward made a series of calls. Around 8:30 p.m., he chatted with his longtime partner, Jeff, who was back in Atlanta. He left a voicemail for his niece, Amanda, whom he spoke with daily. His last known call was to his best friend, ending around 9:15 p.m. By Thursday, Brian was nowhere to be found. Anita went to their parents' house. His car, a light blue Buick that used to belong to their mother, was gone. But inside, everything else was there. His medications, clothes, cell phone, even his overnight bag. The bed looked like it had been turned down for the night, but never slept in. It didn't make sense. Brian had a heart condition that required a pacemaker. He also suffered from narcolepsy, severe arthritis, and chronic insomnia. His medication wasn't optional. It was essential. He wouldn't just leave it behind. Initially, police weren't quick to act. Jeff called Carrollton PD that very evening, only to be told they'd have to wait 72 hours to file a missing persons report. That's a myth. There's no legal requirement to delay reporting a missing adult. But even after Anita pushed them to file the report the next day, officers didn't enter Brian's information into state or national databases right away. Meanwhile, the family scrambled to find him. They called relatives, retraced his steps, and searched everywhere he might have gone. When police finally opened an official investigation, their theory? That Brian might have left on his own, possibly after a fight with Jeff, or maybe even to start a new life. But no one who knew Brian believed that. He and Jeff had been together for over a decade. Sure, they'd faced challenges, like living apart when Brian had to move home to care for his mother, but things were finally settling down. Brian had just started looking forward to rebuilding his life, and they were even planning a Florida vacation together that weekend. Then came the first bizarre clue. Police heard Brian had paid a water bill for his mother at City Hall the same day he disappeared. At first, this seemed to place him alive and well that Thursday afternoon, but there was no security footage, no witness who remembered him. And later, it turned out that the bill had actually been paid the day before. The Thursday timestamp came from an automatic refund due to an overpayment. Another curious detail surfaced. A neighbor recalled seeing a light on in the garage around 2 a.m. Thursday morning. They noticed someone moving around inside, assumed it was Brian, and thought little of it. Amanda later said he'd been searching for a receipt to bring to court, and with his insomnia, being up at that hour wasn't strange. So what happened between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. when he missed his hearing? Why would he vanish without taking anything with him? Weeks passed with no new leads until December 2nd. A police officer in Chattanooga, Tennessee, spotted a suspicious vehicle parked on a residential street. It was moldy, covered in leaves, and had Tennessee license plates. But the VIN matched Brian's missing Buick. Inside, everything looked untouched. A Tupperware of coins, a sci-fi novel, and a Taco Bell receipt from September 23rd were all in place. The keys were still in the ignition. Neighbors said the car had been sitting there since around Halloween. One woman recalled a young man, black, in his early 20s, driving the car at high speed before parking it and walking away. No one knew him. The spot where the car was left was frequently used by people in the area, and everyone assumed it belonged to someone else. What's most shocking? A nearby sheriff's department had run Brian's license plate on October 17th, just 3 weeks after he vanished. The bolo for the Buick was still active, but no one notified Carrollton police. Whether it was a clerical error or something more, that oversight may have cost investigators valuable time. Detectives towed the car back to Georgia. They recovered a partial fingerprint and some fibers, but nothing conclusive. The print couldn't be processed without a suspect to compare it to. As for Brian's trail, it ended there. Years passed. Jeff, still grieving, died in 2017 after suffering a heart attack while in the hospital for appendicitis. He died never knowing what happened to the man he loved. In 2012, fresh investigators took over the case. They gathered Brian's untouched belongings from his parents' house, items that, shockingly, hadn't been collected at the time of his disappearance. In 2015, they brought in cadaver dogs. The dogs alerted in one area, the family's boathouse, but searches turned up nothing. They even drained part of the lake to search underwater. Still, no Brian. There was no indication that Brian used social media, no unusual calls, no mysterious bank activity. He hadn't taken a bus. He hadn't flown. His life just stopped. And despite thousands of tips, countless hours of investigation, and a grieving family that refused to give up, there were no definitive answers. One of the most haunting parts of this case is the void it leaves behind, the possibility that someone, somewhere, knows what happened, but hasn't come forward, that someone dropped the Buick in Chattanooga, that someone may have seen Brian after he left his parents' house, that somewhere a detail was missed. Brian Wehrle has been missing for over a decade. If you liked the video, please press the like button and subscribe, and check out other videos on our channel. We've got a lot of other stories about mysterious disappearances that are still unsolved to this day.